Hi, class. I'm going to keep this short. Again, I missed, because of some business connections, I wasn't able to have the on-site part of the on-ground part of our hybrid class with the Capstone. So I wanted to just go through very, very briefly and go over some of the topic areas that were important. Now, again, this is a combined CIS Capstone with the business Capstone. So what I do have available to share are the chapters out of the Strategic Management Handbook. For both Joe and for Saeed, I keep looking through various sources to find out if there's some PowerPoints that support the chapter book that we have in here. And unfortunately, so far, I haven't heard anything. I've made a contact directly to McGraw-Hill. However, given that, as we've talked about, strategic, the Capstone is this strategic level document. It's multifaceted, and it's about a problem and an issue that you face. So moving forward, as I talked about last time when we were on ground and in face-to-face, the idea and the issue that we have to worry about is you're preparing a paper that will reflect as close as we can a project that you'll be proud enough to when somebody says, what did you work on, you can present this Capstone paper. So no matter what you do, whether you're CIS, whether you're business, whether you're health, whether you're hotel management, or any industry, the two chapters that are associated with us today are social and ethical responsibility. Okay, that's the biggest one that I want to go through. And then, actually I forgot the name of the fourth chapter, but we'll get to that in a second. So what I want to just do a little bit is to show and share with you, okay, where did it go? There it is, okay. The learning objectives for chapter 3, which is social and ethical responsibilities. Excuse me. The one that is the hardest or the most rigorous is what is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, and we'll get through that in a moment or two. But very simplistically, as we all know, okay, what you're looking for in terms of social and ethical responsibilities is maintaining. It relates to maintaining both the corporate level vision as well as your personal code of moralities and ethics. Okay, we talk a lot about this. Being honest and forthright and open people. And it really does show through in everything that you do. Whether, again, you're a programmer and you're asked to build a program or an app for somebody, for some corporation or some databases, that if you aren't thorough and diligent, excuse me, in creating them, it will reflect on your personality, your personal professionalism, and it could wind up translating into either low pay or even termination from an employee. Obviously, on the business side, when we talk about these things, it's the same thing. If you're the CFO and you're not careful about keeping the books, you can certainly run into even worse cases where you can be held liable and sent to jail. Okay, so moving forward on these. Okay, one of the points that they talk about, these are all the perceived stakeholders. You have to identify, again, with each and every one of them. I'm just going to spend some time talking about this and go through this rapidly. You have customers who are stakeholders. You want them to understand and to be happy with it. The government has certain laws, and this again is true even with the CIS. If you're a systems admin person and you're handling medical data under the U.S. HIPAA Act, Health Insurance Private Protection Act, if information is leaked about somebody's health records and it can be traced back to your negligence, you can be held liable. Obviously, the stockholders of a company, the employees, and society in general. Okay, and this is all that you do. You step through the dynamics of them. Okay, again, nice little chart. The inside stakeholders, the outside stakeholders, and how they tie to the company mission and the company mission and your work. Okay, the types of responsibility. There's an economic duties to maximize stakeholder wealth. From a business side, absolutely. From the CIS side, you are an enabler of the corporation, so you do have a direct impact to it. Legal, yes, you both have to have legal obligations. You have ethicals, what's right and proper, and discretionary, voluntary, assumed by an organization. Then the big thing is this thing called corporate social responsibility. So what is it? Any business, any element within a business has a duty to serve society in general, to do the best for society. Okay? We can go through and understand the profitability aspects of it. You can determine cost benefits analysis. If you don't have a good corporate social responsibility and you wind up doing things that are questionable, it could result in low return sales, which would impact the company. And even again, I keep translating this to the CIS side, if you're not properly trained, properly diligent in writing things, and too many problems occur with programs, people will stop buying the programs, or it'll give the wrong information to the accounting system. Your database connections aren't correct and they keep coming up with duplications and errors. It'll affect the business, which will affect you. Okay, we've seen the globalization. Here's this Sarbanes Act. The CEO, CFO must certify every report of a company. Okay, this is strictly business oriented at the particular moment. Okay, it does restrict the control of executives, acting firm, auditing committees, attorneys. It specifies the duties. The composition of the audit committees, it defines what they must be. It defines the rules of attorney conduct. The disclosure periods are stipulated and penalties for violations. Now, pointing directly to Joe and Saeed, one of the, they talk about the CEO and the CFO. However, the CIO and even the CKO could wind up finding themselves pulled into the issues relating to the Sarbanes-Oakley Act, okay? Because as a member of the C-suite, you have a fiduciary responsibility to achieve all of these things that are here, okay? Or to comply with all of them. So even if you are an information specialist, or the knowledge management specialist, some of these issues here can be reflected to you. Okay? We do have a new governance structure, okay? Again, here's what some of them look like. The mission, the state, the effect of corporate social responsibility. And again, I'm going to at this point talk about, keep talking about corporate. Well, within any company organization, what the corporation's mission statement is, each layer, each department is expected to support and to work towards that mission statement. So no matter what I talk about at a corporate social responsibility effort, it also applies down to the workers. Then you have social audit. Are you really performing? Are you putting forth the best effort for society? Okay. There are conflicting pressures, which is make money, be socially responsible. Okay. And here's the way it basically is shown. When you have a philanthropic on the left side, you're giving out money left and right for things that will help society. When you have the other end, you are looking for this corporate social responsibility dominated mission, where you have excessive commitments, where you may be making money, but you're balancing it off of philanthropic ideas. Now, this may not be directly translatable down to the CIS, Information Systems Manager level, or the SysIP level, or anything of this nature. But to a degree, everything here still, when you talk about it, when I was still a director, part of what we had was professional development. And, we've also incorporated work-life balance issues so that each level of the department felt that they were doing something that they were comfortable with and socially responsible for and to. So the principles of this is simply, what is the mission? What do we do? How do we contribute to large-scale undertaking? Understand various influences, not just the government, and you assemble a total package. Right? So, and then here are some of the limits that exist with it. The future, it's irreversibly part of corporate fabric. That's something to understand. Okay, and the public perceptions of ethics is at an all-time low. We don't need to talk about this too much, but that's obvious. And when groups agree on what constitutes human welfare, that means they choose to achieve it differently, okay? The nature of ethics, is that they all managers believe to have an ethical manner, okay? And the ethics is the moral principles reflecting society's beliefs, fine, okay? There are all sorts of approaches: utilitarian, moral rights, social justice approaches. There is a code of business ethics. Well, many of these different agencies or different groups have an expected code of conduct, okay? And I list some of them here. Some of them you can obviously figure out as true. The physicians, the Hippocratic Oath, you know, first and foremost, do no harm, okay? And if you search long enough in each of your areas, you'll find something. Whether or not they are formalized codes of conduct, there are expected codes of performance, meaning operations, day-to-day work. And major trends, you can see these here. This will give you a good example of what it is, okay? So here are the key terms that are associated with this chapter. That's the end of that. Chapter 4, okay, environmental factors affecting firm performance. Again, thinking in the two groups that we have in here. Now, if I further delineate you from business and CIS into, say, network security, SIE, you keep talking about programming apps and things of this nature, and the others, whether you're finance, whether you're accounting, whether you're marketing, your sales, whatever it might be, okay, what are the environmental factors that you interact with and understand how they affect the firm's performance, okay? All right. Factors beyond the control. That could be anything, and here's some of them: remote environments, industry environments, and operating environments, okay? The remotes are social, political, technological, ecological factors, okay? Here's really how they show up, and that's the critical thing to see and understand here, is that they build as they move forward. Okay? The remote economic factors are here. The economic principles, prime interest rates. Now, prime interest rates are written really for the business side, okay? But if you're an information systems department manager, you too have to worry about how do I get capital money, capital investment print money to buy and keep up to date on the latest and greatest technology. The social factors, political constraints, impacts of activity, the technological forecasting. Again, now we really start crossing into the area where, you know, as business people, you rely mostly on the information system side of the house to understand what is technical forecasting, what is moving forward, when and how frequently should I have to replace all of my my information technology infrastructure. Okay, it's a quasi-science, and it has a lot of issues that are associated with it. Okay, we have eco-efficiency, we have the international environment. Porter created the 5 forces that shape competition in any industry, whether you're information systems, whether you're business, marketing, whatever it might be. Okay. Competitive forces do shape the strategy. Okay. A little bit more on the determinants of entry, rivalry, buying power, supply power, threats. You know, powerful suppliers. You're powerful if you dominate it. So even when we think you're an IT person, an IT company, you're dominating right now. One of the interesting old signs was, remember, when you're number one, there's only one way to go, and that's down. Okay. Powerful buyer if you concentrated purchase. So when we start thinking about conglomerates, whether or not substitution of products, again, crossing back over to the CIS side, where and how would you look at utilization of clouds? Again, public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. How do you stand off or determine to replace specifically something like, instead of a Cisco router, some other company's router, the software that goes with it? What's the impact back to the corporation? You jockey for position, okay? You have to do competitive analysis. And that competitive analysis, again, has a technical aspect to it. It's just talked about how to do it, the issues that are associated with it. And don't forget the nature of the labor market, people, okay? Now, they're talking here more towards environmental factors with the firm's reputation as an employer, employment rates, availability, relationship with labor unions. And that's all true and everything. But what you're looking at is understanding that you do have people. And I mentioned it a little bit earlier today in the video. What is the work-life aspect of this. So you do have to worry about these environmental factors and the emphasis they have, internal, remote, external, to determine how and they will affect your ability to perform your job within any kind of an organization. And there's that. So this was very, very short, and I realize it. I just wanted to make sure that we went through the chapter. And just to remind you to please, check on the discussion threads. I haven't seen a lot of submissions on what would be your outlines for the paper, and those are due, and I really would like to have you send them in as soon as possible. And I will see everybody next Wednesday. Okay, thank you.